In the last video, we left off with bond character. In this one, we're going to talk about bond character and the intermolecular forces. For a non-polar bond, the electronegativity difference is between 0.0 and 0.2. This electronegativity difference will result in London dispersion forces. For a polar bond, with an electronegativity difference between 0.3 and 1.4, it will result in intermolecular forces called dipole-dipole forces. So for nonpolar bonds, London dispersion forces form. This forms because electrons in atoms are very mobile. They move around constantly. Sometimes the electrons will shift more to one side of the atom than another, or more to one side of a molecule than another. This will result in a partial negative charge, where the electrons are where they're located, and a partial positive charge on the opposite side. This is different from ionic bonds, where there was a gain and loss of electrons from your metal losing an electron to your non-metal that gained the electron. Those were not partial charges, those were actual charges. Because remember, these atoms aren't losing or gaining electrons, so the atoms remain neutral. In ionic bonding, they gained or lost electrons, they no longer were neutral. So a partial negative and a partial positive charge will form on the atom. For example, the electronegativity difference between a bond between phosphorus and selenium is 0.03. That means that the electrons will congregate around your selenium and farther away from your phosphorus, creating a shift in the charge, and you represent that by putting a partial positive on the phosphorus and a partial negative on the selenium. Those partial charge symbols look almost like a fancy S or a fancy D. If you look in your textbook, I don't remember what page, so I will have to find out the page number for you to look at. But if you look in your textbook for London dispersion forces, you will see the symbol written there as well.